It's the hook. Welcome to another podcast, another episode. Today, how to calculate and maximize your customer lifetime value without chasing more leads. If you want more customers or more revenue in your business without spending all of your time trying to advertise and bring in more leads, is today is the day for you. We are Nate and Simone. We talk all things marketing, and we are on our own today. We don't have a guest, so we're going to help you to give you some practical tips and help you to really calculate that lifetime value. But before we get started, I want to remind you to subscribe to this channel so that you can keep getting notified when we come online and we give you these tips and tools. Okay, so hey Nate, let's get going.
All right. Yes. Welcome back once again. Fun stuff, CLV or CLTV or whatever it may be. We've talked about this before, but it's one of those things that bears repeating, I think, right? Um, the kind of one of the main ideas here is that so many business owners feel like their business growth depends on getting more leads. I actually had this discussion this morning with a client of mine. He is, you know, it's he's a kitchen bathroom modeler, and construction, and he's bringing in a new team, and it's one of those industries where it can be seasonal, right? Because especially around the holidays, people don't want you in their house, so it's like things are start to dry up around Christmas time, but you know it's kind of like one of those lagging things. You want people are thinking about the spring and try and wanting to get things ready. Well, of course, he's thinking I need to get more leads. I need to get this thing going. Bringing on a new crew. They're going to be wanting some work, and so I gotta get something going here. Well, meanwhile, he is completely neglecting his entire list of people that have, paid him for jobs over the last, 6, 7, 10 years, whatever it is. Like, what are you doing? Like, you are sitting on these leads. These are
Wow.
people who already know you. They are warm leads. They were happy to give you their money. You gave them a good experience. Why are you not reaching out to them again and asking them? Why are you trying to, get more people in? So this is what we're talking about here today. Um, and oftentimes, in fact, getting those new leads can actually start to magnify existing problems. For example, as is the case of, with this person in particular I'm talking about, if you don't have a good system for following up with them, if you're not tracking them properly through a pipeline, et cetera, like that those types of things don't exist in the business or are kind of stapled together at best, then you run the risk of dropping the ball on these leads that you paid for, right? To kind of, just fall through the cracks. And there may be other problems, systemic structural problems that may be occurring here. You may be trying to attract all these leads, but and nobody is biting. Well, why? What's the reason here? Have you examined what your offer is, for example? Um,
Could be an
uh,
issue with messaging or call to action isn't really landing.
yeah. Is your
Mm.
process, how is that looking, et cetera. Of course, with something like, remodeling and whatnot, then the team is going to be crucially important, obviously, because that is your delivery system, right? And so that
Right.
is a crucial bit to that customer experience. But anyway, so this is the type of stuff we're talking about today. Um, if you have, just as an example here, let's say we have two businesses in the same amount of traffic and one is struggling and one is actually scaling, and 9 times out of 10, the difference is not in in the amount of marketing, like the number of leads coming in.
Mm.
It's CLV. It's their ability to continue to extract value or to extract resources from the clients that they currently have to provide more value to them to help improve their lives, continue to help improve their lives, you know. Um,
I think customer lifetime value it really speaks to the the loyalty that you're creating within your business. Do your clients stick around? Do they have incentives to stick around? Do
yeah.
you give them a reason to keep coming back?
Yeah, are you keeping in touch with them? You know, are you keeping staying
Yeah,
top of mind? Do they even remember that they worked with you? You know?
right. Do they remember your name?
Yeah.
I find it very interesting how some people because I actually had a discussion with a coach a while back, and and he was saying um yeah, what if somebody is not interested in what I'm doing or interested in being a customer, well then, I'm just going to move on to the next person. I'm not going to bother with that person anymore. To me that's like a cardinal sin at this point. Like
Yeah.
um they may
Hmm.
not be ready to work with you now, but or they worked with you before
Yeah.
and maybe they had to leave for some reason or life happens, things happen, right?
Yeah.
Don't you want them, they trusted you at one point, don't you want them to remember you?
Hmm.
Like, hey, I had a good experience. And I'm looking to get back into a certain type of coaching again or something. I mean, wouldn't you want them to remember the person who helped them in the past?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They already know you. They've already worked with you. They understand what it's like to work with you. Ideally, this you're going to choose. There are going to be some customers probably along the way who did not have a favorable experience working with you, which is fine. You can let them go in
Mm-hmm.
that case. But those you really, really want to make sure that you are keeping in touch with those that had a good experience. You know, that's extremely, extremely important. So
Absolutely.
if we're putting this into the context of the V3 growth system, remember it's important to remember that the visibility, right, is the one thing that's bringing that attention, which is important. Don't get me wrong, but these are customers that you've already gone through this, right? And you're extending that customer lifetime value to your business.
Right.
The viability helps to determines whether that attention that you've earned turns into value, right? And then valuation, creating a valuable business, rewards businesses that are able to compound customer value over time. That's the idea here. So, by the end of this episode, you're going to understand why CLV, customer lifetime value, is the most honest growth metric in your business and exactly where to increase it, where to look to increase it. All right. Um,
Yes.
okay, so what
There's
CLV
multiple
really is?
ways.
Yeah, what is it here? Why most people misuse it? It's not, first of all, it's not necessarily a spreadsheet exercise, although it wouldn't be a bad idea to run your numbers through to figure that out. CLV is a lens to help you make decisions. So the essential formula can be boiled down to how much your customers buy, how often they buy from you, and how long they stay. That's it. That's what you need to figure out, your CLV. And this is like one of those things that doesn't really show up on a line item in your QuickBooks account, by the way. So this is you're gonna have to figure this out for yourself. Um, it's unfortunate because it's such a valuable thing to know, though.
Right.
So yeah, if you're only looking at your average order value, for example, yeah, okay, that tells you that's important to know. Don't get us wrong. People who are interested in buying a business are going to want to know that. if you are seeking to optimize your business, you're looking to figure out what products are, carrying their weight or not. Um, that's a great thing to know, right? But but it's not the end all be all. There's more to it. Um, another thing here too is when you run the risk of confusing your revenue with profit. Not the same thing.
Mm,
So, um,
not at all.
um, knowing the difference and how to calculate that is going to be important as well. And then another key mistake here that often gets made is ignoring when customers churn because you're too busy. That's a big problem. You got to figure out why they're churning. There's got to be a reason of, run a survey, do something. We know people that can help you there in that regard. Reach out to us, but
Yeah, and I'm
yeah,
thinking, sometimes the busyness can be an indication of high churn because
yeah, maybe
you're
that's why. Yeah, yeah.
continually offboarding, continually onboarding. It's just there's no stability, and which can cause a lot of busyness,
I think that's
which
assuming that
looks
there is an
like
offboarding and onboarding too, but
true,
yeah, yeah.
assuming that you do have those processes in
Hopefully,
place.
yeah. If not, then that also probably is contributing to churn. But anyway, so if we go back to the Starbucks example that I had, I don't know, several months ago and have harped on since, but it's a key and important metaphor, I think, in this case to think about because, who doesn't love coffee, right? Um, and who doesn't know about Starbucks? Like, um, you know, according to Google, just a quick, Google search, customer lifetime value of a Starbucks customer is between 14 and 20 grand, depending on how much they love their, pumpkin spice lattes. But I
That's
mean,
coffee people.
that
14
so
grand.
customer lifetime. So that is over, and they estimated like between it's like 10 plus years. I mean, these are dedicated customers, okay? These are addicted customers, frankly.
Addicted, and yes, yes.
There's a,
I guess
there's
that's how you
there's
create
that
loyalty,
element
right? You
here,
get
but
them addicted.
yeah, yeah.
I have heard that Starbucks coffee is a little bit stronger or has a little bit more sugar in it, and that's
Hmm.
one of the things that keeps people coming back. I used to get like vanilla
Tripping all your
frappuccinos
wires.
there
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm one of the people who don't like coffee,
Oh
um,
wow, okay, all
but
right.
yeah, they
Finally met one. Yeah.
yeah, you finally met one. Um, but they had a frappuccino that I liked, and I had to stop drinking it because it's like it's very, very sweet.
Yeah. Oh,
Sweet.
I
But
agree.
it
I
was
agree.
really
I
delicious.
mean, tooth decay. Yeah, that's totally.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But their Starbucks are is like they're masters of maximizing customer lifetime value. I mean, they're
Mm,
always coming out with new products that their customers that are going to love, right? They have merchandise. They have created third spaces for people to spend time and money in.
spend time in the space.
Um,
Exactly. It's like it's they've created they've built in ways for customers to keep coming back over and over. Because there are times like you can go into a Starbucks not intending to buy anything, to just use the Wi-Fi, use the restroom, um, sit at a table and just work all day. But you see people come in and they've got these lovely little snacks and their coffee cups, and you're thinking, "Ugh, I need to eat something, I need to drink something, and let me not go elsewhere. I'm right here. Let's just go up to the counter, get your
yeah,
get your drink and a snack, and get back to work on your computer. It's right here. Yeah, the longer you stay, the more likely it is that you're going to spend money there.
Yes, exactly. And there's something to be said here for habit, right? Um,
Hmm.
frequency and habit can often be you know better for your bottom line and for that customer lifetime value than a one-time project that may be a high ticket. How can you keep them around? How can you keep them interested? How can you continue to provide value? And on your end, how can you continue to extract value from your customers? It's a two-way street in that case, right?
Right.
We're not talking about robbing them blind just because you can. No, this is not what we're talking about here. You're
You're actually
you
providing value and you're giving
they
your
yeah,
your customers something that they want.
and it's hard in the case of a home services business, for example, because they are often project based. Your customer needs a new hot water heater installed, or they need a new bathroom. You're like, okay, well, once that's done, then they're probably that probably put a giant hole in their pocketbook, and they're probably not going to be calling you anytime soon. Um, but not that's not always the case. There's always opportunities there. You just never know. And we talked about this last time. There's ways that you can kind of smooth that out through, increasing your monthly recurring revenue and that kind of thing. So anyhow, the thing here to remember is that your customer lifetime value doesn't really tell you how good your marketing is, right? Because they're already customers. It tells you how healthy your business is. And this is a crucial difference, and equal. It's as important to know that as it is to know how well your SEO is doing, right? So, for example,
Yeah, that is
all right.
crucial. Absolutely.
Okay, so
So,
CLV, when it comes to in the three V's, I would put it in the viability portion, because it is more about how the business is serving the customer and the experience that the customer is having, and can the business continue after the owner is you know taking themselves out of the picture. Um, if this is a truly viable effort and things are going along as they should, things are running predictably, those customers are going to be happy, there's processes in place, you're going to maximize the customer lifetime value, which in the end maximizes your revenue, right?
right. So ultimately it becomes a systems issue. Like are
Yeah,
the systems in your business running in such a way that customers are feeling taken care of and they want to come back and they see you as a person that's gonna help them
yeah,
and continue to give them value on a regular basis, on a consistent basis, to the point where they are not just staying longer, but they're also referring other people, and so you don't necessarily have to spend um, more time and more money on getting leads. Your loyal customers are bringing in leads.
yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. If they love what you do, then chances are very good that they'd be more than happy to tell their friends about it, right? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. And
So,
so you are a harbor in the storm, right? You're protecting your customer, you're guiding them because there's a whole lot of crazy going on in people's lives, like I'm sure.
yeah,
So you want to be that one source where they don't have to worry, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, I think that can take you a long way, believe me. Um, and because it's almost like it's an emotional thing, right? You're helping them
Yeah.
helping them cope on a certain level there. Um, and
Oh,
so having this structure, this regular, predictable cadence in your business, reflects in your customers' feelings about you and their experience with your company, and it just kind of snowballs from there. So if you are, generally speaking, have a low customer lifetime value, these are some of the things you may be experiencing. You feel like you're constantly chasing leads. You feel like you have to discount to close your deals. You don't really have a re-engagement process with the customers that have already given you money. And your clients disappear after delivery. They're like, okay, we're done here. Bye, on to the next. So if that's the case, if that sounds familiar to you, this is definitely something that you may need to look into. Um, all right. So
well,
because the reason why is right, because if your business can't reliably increase the value per customer, the viability, it's not viable in the long run. That's just the plain facts. Um,
so like when you don't have um, a long-term, you're not creating that long-term value, um, then what you start seeing in your business, you're not following up very well. Your products and your services aren't very well packaged. And it ends up being an inconsistent customer experience. And so what you want to do is to fix those things so that customers will want to stay longer.
yeah. So the next question then, once you understand what the value of CLV, then the question is, well, where do you pull those levers? So that's what we're going to get into next. Um, for one thing, kick things off here, you can look at increasing the purchase value. All right. So one of the things that uh, the business owners get wrong here in this case is that they're selling isolated services. They underprice to stay competitive. And believe
Yeah.
me, the one thing I learned, corporate sales, international sales over 10 years, was, competing on price is a race to the bottom. Like there's
Yeah. You
no
don't
good
want
that
to
can
do
come out
that.
of that. Yeah.
No good
Once
can come out
once
of
you
that.
start bringing price into the picture, then you are basically turning your product or service into a commodity.
Yeah.
You're out where you're
And if you
hoping for
can,
margins. Yeah.
yeah, if you're running a commodity business, then you end up competing with Walmart or Amazon, and
And the big guy is always going to win. Yeah.
you there's almost no way you can compete with them, right?
Yeah.
So so think of it as you're not selling tasks, and but you're selling outcomes over time. Sell
Right.
the outcome, don't sell the task, don't sell the bits and pieces, sell the dream. What's the hanging out on the beach and
Yep.
sipping drinks out of little umbrellas. Don't sell the plane ride and the waiting in line at TSA, and getting sitting in a middle seat, you know, on this long flight with a noisy plane, right? Sell the outcome. Don't sell
Yep.
the journey.
It's like I've told people before, there's one question that people have in their minds when they arrive at your website,
Mm,
and that is, what's in it for me, right? And
exactly.
that question continues to be the prime question that all of your customers have at any given time. What's in it for me? They want to know. And so that
Yeah.
is what we're talking about here. You got to make sure that they understand what exactly it is in it for them to continue to work with you, right? What would they be missing out on otherwise, you know? So
All
yeah.
those lovely benefits.
Hmm. Um, okay. Uh, Another key part to this is explaining things clearly, right? Packaging your offer, packaging your product, packaging your service, whatever it is, and doing it well can help increase the clarity around what it is that you're exactly that you have to offer, right? Um, Trying to think of a good example in this case. Hmm. I think with people in professional services consulting especially, I know I've struggled with this, is like how can I you know put this in a way that makes it easy to grasp but also kind of reflects the value that I bring, and basically in my case at least, the thing that I've hit on is it's not really what I do exactly. It's more, again, going back to what we just said with them, right? What is it that your clients are looking for? What is the problem that they think they have? You know, and oftentimes the problem they think they have is actually a symptom of a deeper problem. And so it's up to you to figure out what that deeper problem is, and hopefully you are solving deeper problems, which provides more value, right? So that's the idea. Um, and that's the case. Like in my, like that's been my experience. It's not really what it is I do. Like strategy, marketing, systems, sales, all this kind of stuff kind of gets all jumbled in the head. Like what is this? These are all abstract concepts. But when you start talking about okay, smoothing out the revenue roller coaster, right? People get that right away. You know, helping
Yeah, I understand
to
what that means. Oh,
a lot of times they think they have a marketing problem, right? But it's not always a marketing problem. Marketing is just a symptom. They're not attracting enough leads. I'm not making enough money, right? I need more money. I need more revenue coming in, etc. Okay, great. Every business needs that. Why aren't you getting that? Right? That's the question, right? And so helping them to kind of decipher the reasons underneath that is part of the value that I bring, right? So anyway,
mhm.
how do you package that, for people?
Mm.
It's a difficult idea, difficult concept. But
I think you can always give them that analogy of being the doctor. I'm
right,
the
yeah.
doctor,
Hmm.
you're the patient. Never lost a patient yet.
Yeah.
Uh, gonna
Diagnose them without
diagnose,
prescription. Yeah.
gonna
Is
diagnose you before
malpractice.
I give you the prescription,
Yeah.
right? So we know what the problem is.
Yeah.
So you don't keep having the same issue. Um, and we give you, we're going to prescribe the right thing based on a full diagnosis. We're not going to just here, take this pill,
Yep.
take two of these, and call me in the morning.
Yeah. So we're talking about here customer lifetime value. Um, if I were just to go up to somebody and say, "Hey, what I do is I help businesses increase their customer lifetime value," they'd be like, "What?" Looking at me like I had three heads because this is not usually something that people really think about, right? It's not really top of mind
About
for
it.
them. They're concerned about their top line and their bottom line revenue.
Mhm.
You know,
That's true too. And I think in my experience, so many founders are not necessarily focused on, they're so focused on getting new leads. They
yeah,
don't pay attention to the clients that they already have.
right. And how much more likely that you're able to get new business out of your current clients than you are out of brand new leads
Yeah,
who are coming in cold and have no idea who you are.
right.
Um,
If
Much
you
easier
keep
process.
them, you keep them coming, you keep them, you keep them happy, build up that loyalty. Not only do they continue to spend money with you, but they're gonna share share you with others.
Yeah.
What they learn from you and how
And then
well you treated them, they're going to tell other people.
all of a sudden you have more
It's
leads because, and
right.
they're for
Now they're your
free.
marketing team.
All right. So this is the type of work that we're helping businesses, on.
Absolutely.
Problem they think they have is a marketing problem. I need more leads. I need to generate more revenue. Well, there's other problems internally in the business that we should probably address, and that's going to help that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Having confidence in what it is that you're offering, I think helps increase your transaction size.
Mm.
I think a lot of times business owners, maybe they aren't exactly. I was talking to someone about this actually recently. She's starting up a business where she's doing um, food waste consulting for people out in the San Francisco Bay Area. I know, right? A
Interesting.
food waste consultant. Interesting concept.
That's unique.
Yeah. So it's like, how can I educate people on the value that they could get by thinking more conservatively, I guess you could say, about their purchase habits, the types of things that they buy, not buying too much and throwing a lot of stuff away because it's wasted, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Conservation, increasing efficiencies, which ultimately decreases your overall spend on food and is a net positive for like the local environment and, um, all the hungry mouths out there that need food, etc. Anyway, so there's a lot of things going on there. And one thing I talked to her about was, having more confidence in what she's offering and realizing like the value that she provides and kind of amplifying that, and coming up with like different tiers of service around that, which, could ultimately increase her customer lifetime value as, maybe they're not ready for the ultimate tier yet, but maybe they'll be more apt to buy something at a lower tier just to kind of test things out. But if she has more confidence around it and she's able to say, you know what, I know where you're at, I know precisely where you're at because of this, and this, right? I've diagnosed it, I know what's going on. Here's what you really need. And just lay it out there. I have seen that
Yeah, I
happen,
feel
and it's
like
happened for me a lot of times. Like
yes,
this
me
works.
too.
Like yeah,
Yeah, when you come at it, when you talk to people um directly and you're confident in what you're saying and you are um you give them a definite framework and you're able to tell them like what it's how it's going to actually help them, what's in it for them. Yeah, they're willing to say, okay, yeah, you're my gal, you're my guy, you're my gal. You're the person that's to help me with this because obviously you know what you're talking about.
and
So
I cannot stress
and they're
enough
willing to spend more.
having those systems, having it set up so that you know what the next step is, right?
Mhm.
That goes a long way to increasing your confidence. If you've already thought this out, you have this path that your customers follow. That that can do a tremendous amount of work to increase your confidence, and that gets
That's true.
reflected then in your customers' decisions to purchase from you. So it works.
Right. People want to know that you have a plan.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
All
mean
right.
that signals to them that you know what you're talking about, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, okay,
Okay.
so well, yeah, so we kind of talked about having a one-off projects versus more structured engagement, more, something that increases your monthly recurring revenue, something to think about in this case. Um, that
So,
helps to increase
you don't
purchase
want to,
value.
right. You don't want to do hourly work necessarily. You don't want to spend trade time for money, but think about a retainer or a set program where it's not just a one-off.
Yep.
It's a yeah, they're paying for a program. They're not necessarily paying for your time. Um, think about a done for you plus being an advisor. You don't want to. pigeonhole yourself as a vendor. You want to be a strategic advisor, somebody that they come to you for advice and for your expertise, for your knowledge, not just to, hey, do this for me, do that for me,
Yeah.
which, Carl, anybody could do. You don't want to
Yeah,
be seen
because
as a commodity.
oftentimes, business owners are looking at things, through the lens of, checking things off the list. Just got to get it done, right?
Hmm.
And so you don't want to be just a checkbox on their list, right?
Right.
They You want them to come to you, to seeking advice and input on things, because you have um, perspective on things that they don't have, right? Just by virtue of the
Yeah.
fact that your experience, et cetera, like that is something that, part of the value that you bring. People will pay
Right.
for
And
that. Yeah.
speaking of customer lifetime value, I'm gonna want to keep somebody around who I go to for advice, who
Yeah.
I can go to for strategic information, to plan things out on a strategic level. Than
We
I
were
am
talking.
somebody who's just gonna, oh, build this out for me and
Yeah.
it's over, we're done.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. I'll just go to the next person who's gonna give me a cheaper price for
Right.
that.
Right. We were just talking about when you're working with VAs, for example, being able to have a VA that actually thinks things through and you don't have to explain everything in excruciating detail to, because they are proactive. They've done this before. They know things that work, things that don't work, and are willing, ready, willing, and able to give you their ideas around it. Oh, wow. That's really
Yeah.
useful. Some people,
That's,
now that being said, some business owners are like, no, you're going to listen to what I have to say. Okay, fine, whatever. Just, you're going to have one in every bunch, right? But
yeah.
for me,
But they say it's so much more
offloading
valuable to
that,
have somebody,
yeah,
yeah, who thinks
takes off
because
that cognitive
and
load,
and
right?
takes ownership of that
Yeah,
task or that project.
yeah,
Yeah. It gives you more,
that's a
yeah,
lot.
headspace.
Yeah. So going back to the V3, then this is where you're starting to form value in the business, right? Like once you start thinking these things through, you're increasing your purchase value. Generally speaking, it's doing these things, having these, predictable systems in place built around that helps increase the value of the business then. And probably one of the most important things is you're reducing friction for your customer experience, which is going to, increase your delivery, your sales, and it's just going to be easier on you, your customer. Yeah, it's just a win, 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 win. Okay. Next would be to increase your purchase frequency. So the second sale is easier than the first. Once they've already given you money, it's way easier for them to continue to give you money. That's just psychological. It's inertia. It's like there's like we were talking about habit, right? It's,
Right.
Starbucks, just take my money, just drive through and just throw it out the window at them. It's the same thing. But like,
You
um,
know what's interesting is that Russell Brunson, he as he speaks on stage, he has he has this thing where he creates momentum around you saying yes. And as he's talking to you and he's asking questions in during the talk, you're saying yes throughout. So there's all these, you're agreeing to all these mini questions that he's asking you. So by the time he gets to the part where he's ready to pitch the offer,
yeah.
and you're and he's about to tell you the price, you're already so used to saying yes. It's already built into you that you're ready to say yes to the offer. Doesn't matter what the price is, you're going to say yes. You've
Hmm.
been saying yes to him for 45 minutes now.
Yeah.
um it's it's building that momentum,
Yeah.
as you're serving your client,
There's that
and
whole
easier to keep it going if it's
think
already
about
moving.
it. Think about it. Like there's that whole ramping up period, right? Where you have to kind of educate the customer. about who you are, what you have to offer. You've gone through all this. Think about it from the perspective of the customer, right? All the onboarding, the rigmarole, they've finally, done their hemming and hawing and made the decision, and they went with you because they saw something of value in what you had to offer, and you provided that thing to their expectation. They were happy with it. I mean, why wouldn't they want to continue to work with you, right? Especially
Right.
if there's something else that you can do for them that would further improve their situation, whatever that may be. Like it's way easier to like rely on somebody that you already know, like just think about it from that perspective. Like if you like you're a customer, you know this thing. Starbucks customers, I mean, they know what to expect from like fast food or anything like that. They know what to expect. That is why these places work so well, you know,
Yeah.
because they've created a system around it. And we're not talking about franchising here necessarily, but there's something to be said for
But you
those
know what you're
the
gonna
concept
get.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. This is why franchises work so well because
yeah.
it's a predictable,
It is.
consistent system.
Yeah, but franchises aren't always the best answer. So anyway, that's why I say we're
Yeah.
not really talking about
It's
franchising.
not the
But anyhow,
best for every business, but
yeah,
it works for some.
it does. It does.
Yeah.
But anyway, so um, the part of the problem here is, right, with increasing the purchase frequency is that you don't have a follow-up system in place in most cases. There's no system in place that sends out an automated reminder saying, "Hey, I hope you liked this thing. You might like this thing that goes along with this thing," right? Um, there are, believe it or not, systems and tools out there that can make that happen for you.
Right.
Um,
You also want to
so
give them a reason to come back.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you don't have a reason for them to come back, why would they? Right.
There's a
Um,
person I know I talked to. She had a one product um, ecom, which
hmm.
I've talked to. Yeah, it's okay, that's great and everything, but it's like if you make the
Like what other
product
accessories can you
well, if you
offer?
make that product
Um,
so well,
hmm.
those people that buy it from you aren't gonna buy it again. So you're just constantly in this loop where you're having to find more leads to buy this product that you have. Whereas if you
Right.
have additional products that go along with that naturally, then that can become an easy upsell, and increasing that lifetime value of that customer, you know.
That's right. Yeah. Think about your complimentary offers.
Yeah.
Just go along with it. Right.
In other words, you don't have a defined next step in the process, right? One product, one project, and done, right? That out of sight, out of mind. Uh,
Yeah, you don't
okay.
want that in your business. You don't want to be out of mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want them to think of you when they're ready to buy,
Mhm.
right?
So you really need to think through, well, this is the path I want them to follow. This is how I'm going to get them um, to maximize the lifetime value out of this customer, right?
Right.
Okay. Examples
Oh,
of ways to increase that purchase frequency. Scheduled check-ins. You're constantly staying top of mind, talking to people, asking them, "Hey, how's things going? Anything else I can help you with?" Something like that, simple. Um, Maybe there's an offer for a continuation, right? It's an upsell, but they get a discount because they've already gone through one part of it, for example. Um,
something that keeps them coming back. What if you did a membership, a club, a loyalty program, something like that, that where
yeah. You,
they stay on board or they get rewarded for coming back.
Right. You've reached the end of this course that you paid for example. If you act now, you can get a discount on the monthly cost of a membership in our exclusive mastermind, for example.
Right. It's just for people who took the course, right?
Mhm.
You could do maintenance or optimization services. Um, your customer who does kitchen and bath remodeling. What if he
Yeah.
had a maintenance program
Yeah.
where people paid monthly for whenever you needed, and the people who were paying into it would get premium service or first in the door service.
Yeah.
If there's a chip in the counter, or there's this issue or that issue, or no problem, we'll come out just to maintain it, keep the look, keep the feel, keep it, you know um
Can be a
it's
vastly discounted handyman service for previous customers,
yeah,
if you're paying like a monthly fee, then we'll drop everything and come to you whenever you need something, an emergency situation, for example, or whatever it may be. Take care of
anything
it, no questions asked,
you can take
no
care of it,
charge.
right? Hmm. Can also
Um,
offer quarterly reviews.
mhm.
And that can be kind of a maintenance thing, or it can be, say you do content planning and content generation for a coach or somebody like that. And every quarter, every 3 months, let's review how it's going. How what's the interaction like? What's the how many leads are coming in? Um, let's review your content. Have things changed? Maybe we need to tweak your messaging a little bit. That's something that you can offer as a quarterly service that keeps customers coming back to you because you're offering them something valuable.
Absolutely. So the key thing here is if your client has to think about when they're going to buy again, you've already lost them. So, keeping them in that loop, making it
Make it a
less of a
no-brainer.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, make it a no-brainer. Hmm.
All right.
So,
So, uh, right here, this is increasing that viability in the business. You're creating predictable return customers because that stabilizes your revenue. Okay. Let's see here. Probably the most ignored lever is extending customer lifespan. So um, basically, the reason why is because every extra month that they're with you multiplies everything else. It's a compounding effect, right? Longer relationships mean there's more trust built up, there's more referrals, it's harder for them to leave you, there's higher margins potentially, you know, it's
yeah.
there's really no downside here, it's like uh
Right. So we want to
yeah.
focus on that experience that your customers are getting. Is the onboarding clear? Is it smooth? Do they understand what the next step is? Um, do they know what to expect? Do they know what's expected of them? How are you making that clear to them? What's that communication rhythm like? Are you staying in contact with them on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, monthly? Do they know? Have they purchased something and then feel like you've ghosted them, or are you staying in touch?
Mhm.
So we want to make sure that these experiences are happening even before you get to delighting them, because these are, onboarding with clarity, setting those expectations and having that communication rhythm. That is, those are the basics of serving a client. Whereas, your delight is the extra. So, so what are some examples of onboarding with clarity and setting those expectations and making sure that communication is happening with your clients?
Yeah, this is where um I've actually been looking into like tools to help kind of ease this process along as far as the onboarding is concerned, and how I
Mhm.
can kind of automate it and systematize it, make it a permanent part of the process, right? And there's a lot of different things out there available that will help with that, right? But I think the most important thing here is knowing why you're taking them through these steps and making it kind of obvious, you know.
Yeah.
Again, with that question in back of your mind, what's in it for me? And you're helping to answer that question at every one of the steps along that path. I think that's the key. And for
Absolutely.
me, part of my onboarding process is sharing an expectations document, actually. So I lay out, this is what you can expect from me, this is what I expect from you, and hey, everybody's on the same page. Um,
Right.
and you're
That's what you
establishing that communication is part of this. This is you're setting the expectation around that. One of the things I learned working with at-risk youth in the North Carolina woods years and years ago was the importance of setting expectations, setting the example, setting the standards is what we call them actually, but and leading by example. And so you are the one who initiates it. You are the one who shows what it should look like and setting the example for everyone else to follow. And that's the expectation that becomes, yeah, okay, all right, I can get on. Yeah, sure. They're not trying to steal my URL, and they're not trying to mess up my Facebook and all this kind of stuff and hold my website hostage and whatnot. Okay, I can get behind this. Like they're doing all right. Yeah, they're helping me increase my revenue. Okay, sure, yeah. Um, and um, having a good that the first 30 days with you, I think is key. Really showing what it's like to work with you, proving your value, staying in touch, communication. It's all important. Um, having those handoffs set up again, going back to this is part of the process. This is who does what when. We know this because it's part of the process, right? This is what we've established. When this happens, then this person takes over. And not until these things are completed does this person take over, right? Mapping this out, having everyone be able to see it visually is could be very helpful. And not, for the team as well as the client, but kind of depend on the situation in that case. But I highly recommend documenting it somewhere in some form, just so you get somebody new on board. They're crystal clear on it. But
Absolutely.
yeah, and then having an offboarding, I think is key as well. Onboarding is important, but maybe
Yeah. So is
just as
offboarding.
important. Yeah, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
I actually
Yeah,
had to, I had, I was working on an offboarding um, process with a partner of mine because we needed to offboard a client, and he's been a great client. um Gave us no trouble whatsoever. He's fantastic. But we needed to offboard him, and so we decided, okay, we're gonna have kind of an exit interview. We're gonna get him on video. He's gonna give us his feedback, give us a testimonial, and and then we transfer his account out, or and close out his account. you know um and it's we give him the opportunity to give us feedback, and then also to share with us like how it was working with us. So if there's anything that we need to improve, we can improve it. And also we get a testimonial before he exits out the door.
that's a great idea. I have a client who is unfortunately is a nonprofit and due to budget constraints are unable to continue my services. But we're having an offboarding. Part of that was I created like a list of things. Okay, so this is what I was doing. And so that this is what you're having to take over. And it was a substantial list. But you know, and then part of that too is I will set up a training where I can help you to I could train you on how to update the website, keep it maintained, for example, things like that. Just kind of like simple things to some certain degree. But that is part of the offboarding that I'm doing with them, right? Because they need to continue, their website and everything. It's just they can't afford to pay me to do it now. So they're going to bring it in-house and have somebody do it there. So yeah, so that is part of the offboarding
Yeah,
in that case. It can be customized to a certain extent, but there are probably going to be some things that are going to be standardized, depending on the services that you
true.
provide.
Yeah,
So
like the transfer of information, transfer of
yeah.
assets and data and all that.
Yeah, just kind of
Yeah,
like
all of that
in
can
general,
be
like
automated.
those are crucial pieces that need to, follow along. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, okay, so having those long-term customers creates transferable value, right? Because they go with the business, regardless of who is the one running the business. Hopefully, not in all cases, but hopefully in most cases, if everything is set up properly and the service quality doesn't decline, right? But if you have your systems and processes in place, then that won't be an issue. Um, Businesses that have a high customer lifetime value are easier to sell, scale, or to step away from. So, all important things to think about here.
Absolutely.
All right. So, why? Let's talk a little bit about why um, thinking about customer lifetime value changes how you think about business growth. And first of all, probably the most important thing is you are no longer thinking about things in terms of volume. I have to get a large volume of leads, and or you're more thinking about leverage. How can I increase what I already have, right? How can I increase the value of what I already have? And because you already have these customers, it's much easier to work with them, right? So you have more leverage in that case. Um, and you are shifting from just doing mindless activity to being very effective with your decision making, with the choices that you're making in terms of the activities you choose to focus on, right? um, and you are no longer chasing, you know, leads, chasing new business. You are compounding what you already have. Again, there's no better customer than the one you currently have, as they say, right? So, you just as an example, there you have one customer, or excuse me, one business owner who is obsessed with increasing their traffic, and you have one who is obsessed with increasing lifetime value. Who do you think is going to win that race? Uh, you know, in the long run. So it's going to focusing more on customer lifetime value is going to impact your decisions around pricing. It's going to affect your hiring decisions potentially, and it's going to affect your marketing channel choices as well. There are some marketing channels that are better suited to thinking about things in the long run than others, right? Um,
Yeah, and I
okay.
we had talked about earlier about, some clients you don't want. They're not great clients, and so it's good to say no.
Mhm.
So, um if you want a client for the long haul, then if you're focused on customer lifetime value, then you're going to be more strategic about which clients you actually take on. Because if you want that person around for a lifetime, well, you don't want a bad customer around for a lifetime, do you?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So your customer lifetime value, it helps you to decide where you're investing and where to stop wasting your time.
Mm. Yes, indeed. All right. So how can you start to diagnose your customer lifetime value blind spots? First off, do you know your real CLV? This is a question for our viewers, our listeners out there. Do you know your real CLV? Do you have a second sale designed? Is there an upsell? Is there an additional path?
A
Is
cross-sell or a
are you
continuation
offering
package.
more? Yeah. Could your business survive if your marketing acquisition slowed down?
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, so the most founders have never really stopped to assess this and intentionally because again, as we said, this is not really a line item on your profit and loss statement, right? Um,
Right.
it's not necessarily because the business owners are lazy. It's just because maybe lack of structure, didn't really think about it, didn't realize that that was a thing. There's a lot of different reasons. So, um, but unfortunately, this is exactly the type of work that most businesses skip and then wonder why their growth continues to feel harder every year. So, something to think about. If we, as we close this out, if we go back to the um, the formula, how basically the core formula is how much do your customers buy, how often they buy from you, and how long they stay around. That's how you figure it out. Um, and you want to think about um, the three part system here, right? Um, increasing your purchase value. You want to increase your purchase frequency and then extend that customer lifespan. Think about how you can do all those things. And we gave you some good ideas when things to chew on there. And if
Mhm.
you make one decision after listening to this, I hope that you decide to optimize for value rather than before you start chasing down more new leads and increasing your volume there. So, if you liked what you heard, fantastic. Download. I'm gonna link a thing in my notes for a CLV calculator that you can use. Plug in your numbers if you want, and you can use it to see where your biggest opportunity actually is. As always, if you feel like you are bumping up against your growth ceiling, you can also take the growth ceiling assessment to start learning more about that. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's it for me.
Thank you for joining us today. So, as Nate said, we will put those links in the show notes. And as always, if you learned something today, let us know. Put your biggest takeaways in the comments, and we'll